Hello and welcome to another video. I've been busy creating some new products and greeting card designs for a local art pop-up I'll be doing next weekend. I've been really inspired by all the spring flowers that are in bloom right now, so you'll notice a definite floral theme. In this video, I thought I'd show you how I make my cards, everything from how I set up my file, the papers I use, the printer I use, and how I finish and package my cards. Alright, so I created my designs in Procreate and I sized my canvas based on the folded size of my card. My cards will be A2 or 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. I like to work bigger, so this canvas is almost double the size I'm planning to print at. I have a couple of different designs here, as well as the design for the back of the card, which just has my logo and website. I'm going to export all of this to my MacBook and then use Adobe InDesign to put it together. I'll quickly show you how to make a template in InDesign. It's super easy. I've gone ahead and created an 8.5 by 11 document with 0 margins since I'm planning to print borderless. I'm printing 2 cards on a page, and each card has the front and the back, so I'm adding some guides to divide the page into 4 sections. Now I'm just using the rectangular frame tool to add some placeholders for where my images will go. Then all I have to do is drag in my artwork. You want to place your main design on the right so that when the card is folded, the design will be on the front of the card. I'm going to scale the content to fit the frame. And now I'm ready to print. So let's talk about paper. I'm printing on an uncoated cardstock. This is Neenah Classic Crest 110 pound cover in natural white. As you can see, it's a nice thick paper. Cover stock is a good option for greeting cards. It comes in different weights and colors. I'm using a smooth paper, but you can get different finishes like this linen texture. It's also pretty affordable. I bought a package of 125 sheets from a local paper supplier called Kelly Paper for around $38, which works out to about 15 cents a card. With uncoated papers, your colors will come out a bit muted. They won't be as bright as what you see on screen. If you're printing on an inkjet printer, which I'm assuming that you are, this is because the paper is porous and inkjets lay down the ink wet, so some of the ink will naturally soak into the paper. If you want really bright saturated colors, I would recommend printing on a coated paper. Here's an example of an Epson matte photo paper. Its coating keeps the ink on the surface and prevents it from getting absorbed into the paper. You can also get pre-folded and pre-scored cards from brands like Moab. These are their 300 GSM cards, as well as Red River. These are the Aurora Art Natural 250 greeting cards. In my experience, these custom-sized cards are a bit harder for printers to handle, and you'll need a printer with a manual feed tray. Here's what the same design looks like on an uncoated and coated paper. You can see that the one on uncoated paper is softer and warmer, and the one on coated paper is sharper and more vibrant. Ultimately, your choice of paper is going to come down to what works best with your artwork, your budget, and your printer. I recommend getting your hands on some paper samples and trying them out. There are two standards for measuring paper weight. There's the US standard, and then there's the standard used in most other parts of the world that actually makes sense. The TLDR is that for greeting cards, you want to look for paper that's labeled as 80 to 110 pound cover, or that's around 200 to 300 GSM, or grams per square meter. Generally speaking, the higher the number, the heavier and thicker the paper. The printer I'm currently using is a Canon Pixma IP8720 inkjet. This was an emergency replacement for my previous printer, a Canon Pro 9000 that worked great for 10 years until it suddenly started giving me B200 errors, which, if you know anything about Canon printers, it's basically like the Windows blue screen of death. Despite this, I'm still a fan of Canons. This is my fourth Canon printer, and I can say that they are generally very reliable and low maintenance. A lot of artists I know use Epsons and have good things to say about them. So if you're on the market for a printer, I would say start with those two brands. For art and graphics, you'll most likely want an inkjet printer over a laser printer. Overall, they produce better quality images with a wider color gamut and smoother transitions. If you're just starting out, I would say go for a consumer grade printer. You can find printers that make great quality prints for under $300. The inks will also be more affordable. For printing greeting cards, you just want to make sure that the printer can handle thick paper. When you're working with heavy cardstock, you want to score the paper before you fold it so it doesn't crack. I'd recommend getting an inexpensive scoring board. It has these grooves that help you get a nice crease. They usually come with a bone folder, which is basically a blunt knife. You want to place your paper front side up. The board has markings on it for A2 and other standard sizes, but I found that it's not quite on center for me, so I shift my card a little and score on the next line over. You want to press the paper into the groove with the point of the bone folder and go over it a few times. Then you should be able to easily fold the paper over. You can use the side of the bone folder to help you press the paper down. And you should end up with a nice neat fold on the inside and the outside. I'm pairing these cards with a brown craft envelope. I tuck it between the cards so that the back of the card is visible when I put it into a sleeve. I still have some clear poly bags that I'm using up, but I am looking into more eco-friendly packaging, and I'll show you some options for that. These bags are a little larger than my card. I just use a clear sticker to close the back. For the finishing touch, I add a little sticker with my logo. This is just printed on brown craft label paper. If you want to avoid using plastic, here are a few other options for packaging your cards. You can use glassine bags. They're made from wood pulp, so they are biodegradable and recyclable. They're also translucent, so you can still see the design through them. Another option is to use baker's twine. As you can see, I have the industrial size version here. Natural twine is biodegradable, and you can find twine that is made from recycled post-waste material. This would be a good option for packaging up a set of cards. Lastly, you can use a low-tack tape, like a washi tape, to hold the card and the envelope together. Some washi tapes are stickier than others, so you'll just want to test it and make sure it doesn't rip the paper and it comes off cleanly. I hope you enjoyed seeing the process of making these and feel inspired to make your own greeting cards. I will be at the West Seattle Art Hop a few days from now on Saturday, May 6th. Myself and other local artists will be showcasing our work at 25 different locations up and down the peninsula. I will have cards, mini prints, and zines, among other things. I'll leave a link in the description to the website and the interactive map. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!